What does a hero truly need? In our superhero-obsessed pop culture, we have seen that superheroes can be anyone. People with powers, without powers, with resources, without resources. However, there is one thing you do need as a hero, regardless of powers, quirks, or money: a costume. We've made lists about My Hero Academia's quirks, the characters, but now we are going to rank Class 1A's costumes. In a list like this, someone has to be at the bottom. Despite her many talents, I'm putting Toru at the bottom of this list. Toru is the invisible girl, and her quirk is a passive power that makes her completely transparent. Clothes fit around the contours of her body, so her hero costume needed to fit her quirk of stealth and be easy to hide. Oftentimes, the best answer is the simplest. Toru's costume is just a pair of gloves and shoes. Easy to go incognito, but aside from that, our invisible girl goes commando. Our next entry is completely fine with Toru's costume, which raises a few red flags. Minoru Monetta's quirk is Pop-Off, which allows him to remove the balls growing on his head and have them stick to any surface. They resemble grapes, which is why his hero alias is Grape Juice, the fresh-picked hero. While he might be freshly picked, his costume is anything but. Sporting a purple spandex suit and yellow cape, Monetta's costume lends well to his grape motif, but other than that, is pretty bland. This grape juice isn't ripe yet, but he might get picked just yet. One of the minor characters in Class 1A, Rikido Sato, aka Sugarman, has an impressive quirk, if not often overlooked for how normal it might be. That's really saying something in a world of quirks and heroes. Sato's quirk is Sugar Rush. After ingesting sugar, he gains a burst of speed and strength. The more he eats, the longer it lasts. With his costume, he has gone with a classic yellow suit that covers his whole body. He's sporting a utility belt that holds tiny packets of sugar, so he gets points for utility there. Sadly, Sato's overall design doesn't really pop as his quirk does. Mezzo Shoji is a unique character. He has one of the most out-there quirks with his dupli arms, which lets him grow multiple sets of arms and also move his eyes, ears, and mouth around. Shoji honestly is so low on this list because his character design really overshadows his costume design. His figure and quirk are so striking you often forget he's in costume. All you are looking at are his extra arms and appendages when he is in action. Even his hair and mask is used both in and out of costume. A+ character design that sadly overshadows the costume. Ojido is the embodiment of pragmatism, both in quirk and in costume. His quirk is simply called Tail, which gave him a tail. Look, there are hundreds of quirks out there in the world. They're not all going to be exploding sweat, okay? But Ojido's quirk doesn't have to be flashy because he's not a flashy guy. With his mastery of martial arts, Ojido uses his tail to land devastating blows. His costume is a simple karate gi with blue fingerless gloves. It's comfortable, stylish, and above all practical. You can go from the dojo to hero patrol without having to change at home or in a phone booth. The soft-spoken giant of Class 1A, Koji Koda, is a man of few words. Well, to normal people anyway. The kid has a way with animals via his quirk Anavoice. This allows Koda to speak with animals and give commands. He can also communicate with animals in order to gain information on what they've seen or heard. Koda is, if anything else, a caring kid, so rather than insult his animal friends by dressing up as some sort of giant hodgepodge of animals, Koda chooses to wear an orange and yellow romper with a mask. Now we're getting to our first main character. Well, I mean, all the previous characters are technically main characters since they're in Class 1A, but you know what I mean. Shoto Todoroki, the child of endeavor and one of the top students at UA. His quirk is one of the strongest, half hot, half cold, which allows him to summon ice and fire. As powerful as his quirk may be, little thought was put into the boy's costume. It took me a while to realize Shoto is not in fact wearing a UA training outfit. Powerful quirk, substandard costume. A costume helps send a message to those who see it. To those you want to protect, it can say, "I am here," but others send a message to the enemy. It can tell them, "Buddy, you're dead." Eijo Kirishima sends the latter kind of message loud and clear. Bare-chested to take on all comers, his quirk hardens, prepares Red Riot for a fight. The way his mask is framed and his arms are covered helps make him more of a menacing opponent, especially when he uses Red Riot Unbreakable. A strong and distinguished costume for a sturdy, strong hero. A hero's life is full of sticky situations, and how they get in and out of them. Hunta Seto's life is all about sticky situations. Get it? Because he's the tape guy. Believe it or not, having giant tape dispensers on your body is actually pretty useful. Soto is often swinging around like Spider-Man from the tape he can summon from his elbows. Like Koda's and Sato's, Seto's costume doesn't really complement his quirk, but it is a sleek bodysuit and helmet with a black visor. It's more stylish than his other minor classmates though. And we reached the halfway mark with Izuku Midoriya, our main protagonist. Midoriya was given a quirk by All Might, the symbol of peace and the #1 hero in the MHA world. This, mixed with Midoriya's obsessive nature over all things, the hero caused his first costume to look, well, a bit goofy. He modeled his costume after All Might with his big smile and hair, but it ended up looking like some kind of goofy rabbit-looking thing. Over the course of the series, Midoriya's costume has gone through some changes to reflect his growth. His current costume is stylish, functional, and above all, totally original. Our next two entries embody the hero's overall sense of style and cool factor. First up is Denki Kaminari. Heroes with electric-based powers generally have the coolest costume designs. For proof, look at Thor, Static Shock, Storm. Lightning just gives you a cooler aesthetic. Kaminari's design is urban-inspired with black pants and a jacket with white lightning bolts on the legs and cuffs. It makes sense. A city is where the electricity is, and you want to complement your environment. Kaminari looks like he's ready for a night on the town, or a night on patrol with this design. Similar to Kaminari is Class 1A's rock and roll star Kyoko Jiro. Her quirk and hero name is Earphone Jack, which allows her to use the headphone jack like earlobes to listen to vibrations as well as channel sound into attacks. Jiro brings her passion for music into her hero persona. Her costume is urban with a sleek pair of jeans and a jacket. She also wears a pair of headphones and 2 wrist-mounted amplifiers so she can use her quirk for offense and recon. Both Kaminari and Jiro show a great sense of flair and style with their costumes. We now have entered the Edge Zone, where only the edgiest of heroes reside. In all seriousness, we thought Fumikage Tokiyami would fit well in spot number 13 for both style and flavor. His quirk isn't luck-based or anything, but it is dark. Dark Shadow is a sentient being made from Tokiyami's shadow. The darker it is, the more powerful it becomes. To complement his dark and brooding power, Tokiyami wears a black cloak that hides most of his body. His costume might be unassuming, but he has the unique ability to wear his quirk. For his super moves, Tokiyami equips Black Shadow like a suit of armor for maximum power and edge. Bakugou has an explosive personality and quirk. Oftentimes, it seems rage is the only emotion he has. Fans have often wondered why Bakugou even wants to be a hero. He clearly doesn't have the motivation to help people. His costume is less a symbol of peace and heroism and more a show of strength. His costume is one of the more unique ones visually. The most striking quality is his 2 cuffs shaped like grenades. He can store his explosive sweat in these things to let out a giant explosion. Practical and powerful, Bakugou's costume makes an impact for sure. Bakugou's costume might blow people away, yet he's outshined by Class 1A's flashiest student, Yuga Aoyama. Even his hero name is obnoxious. Can't stop twinkling. That's not a name, it's more of a statement. Just like his quirk and his hero name, Aoyama's outfit is the epitome of flashy. The most striking qualities are his sparkling cape and red glasses, along with his glittering belt that focuses his belly laser. Don't let his flashiness fool you though. The sparkles on his cape and outfit are high-tech lenses that he can use to amplify his naval laser. His high fashion sense and functionality place Aoyama so high on this list. Alright, here we go, the top 5 best costumes in Class 1A. Starting us off is the Class Vice representative, Momo Yaoyorozu. One of the top students in Class 1A, Momo possesses a genius-level intellect in part thanks to her quirk creation. Basically, it works like alchemy. If she knows the composition of an object, she can use lipids in her body to create the object from anywhere on her body. To help with this, Momo's costume allows her to strategically create anything from her limbs, chest, and back. In addition to the leotard, she carries with her a large encyclopedia with a composition of many items, so she can recall them on the fly. Up next is Ochiko Uraka, the gravity girl who floated into our hearts the very first time we saw her. While she may not look like a fighter, Ochiko has shown on many occasions how hard she hits. The fight between her and Bakugou still holds up as one of the best fights in the series. She's consistently surprising people with her combat prowess, despite her aesthetic and her quirk. Her costume is a black bodysuit with pink accessories like cuffs, boots, and a visor. It doesn't provide too much function, but it is one of the more visually appealing and striking costumes in Class 1A. Next, repping Class 1A is Tenya Ida. As Class 1A's representative, it is his duty to make sure the rest of his classmates act in accordance with UA values and decorum. Long story short, Ida is kind of a stickler. However, his costume game is on freaking point. Sporting shining white armor, Ida charges into battle like a knight ready to defend the castle. His quirk, Engine, gives him a boost of speed via thrusters in his legs. His costume helps boost his speed and protects his legs with armor plating. With a great combination in style and functionality, Ida represents his classmates well. Mina Ashido is a character that is out of this world. She sticks out the most in Class 1A due to her horns, pink skin, and black eyes. Literally named the Ridley hero, Alien Queen, Mina's quirk gives her the ability to secrete an acid-like slime from her skin, much like the alien spit from the classic sci-fi movie. However, her costume is the most vibrant and brightly colored out of the class. She wears a bodysuit with psychedelic green and purple camouflage patterns. If we were going off of pure style, Mina's would be number 1, but sadly, there is one that beats her out. Was anybody really surprised by this pick? Tsuyu Asuy, aka Froppy, is the perfect utility hero. She is without a doubt the best support hero in Class 1A. Like her quirk, Tsuyu's costume resembles a frog, allowing her full mobility. The suit also allows her to use her camouflage ability as well as helping her swim with her webbed boots. Her big green tinted goggles help complete her frog aesthetic and can be used for reconnaissance. Given how well her costume helps complement her abilities and also fits her quirk, I'm putting Tsu at the top as Class 1A's best costume. And those are the best costumes in Class 1A ranked. If you have your own ranking or have any comments about this list, let us know in the comments down below. We'd love to hear about your number 1 pick for the best costume in Class 1A. Don't forget to subscribe to CBR for more amazing content.